3 times, 4 times. Doing gang things, living super clean. That done came up. Can't control us. 1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. 1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control us. Look at you, you done came up now. Get it how you live, mess the game up now. Ain't messing with yoga, but get the flame up. Hey, used to be Toby, but got your name back now. I see ya, paid under pressure. 25 lighters, got them all on the dresser. If it ain't for you, ain't for you then. If you a lame or a sucker, wanna dress you then. Grown up now, bump the childish ways. Got a wife and a bunch of kids to raise. Punch a clock side, hustle or a business you endure to ensure that all the bills is paid. Slow clap for your homeboy, could've turned out like your homeboy. Being on the same block, cooking up the same rock on the cell block lot with your homeboy. But no, you had vision, you had gold. Brand new you on the old time road, take care of home where you bust your low. Black men don't teach, screaming bomb the hoe. Real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you PD grade. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. 1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the folk that have moved up. Even if you had a slow start screwed up. Used to gang bang, now homie brewed up. Had a little plan, I had them blew up. Look at you like a man right now. Dressed to the T, smelling like a grand right now. And you ain't got nothing from a handout now. Just faith and hard work, gets it planned out now. You could've took a bunch of dusty roads. The hand dealt with a bunch of cards to fold. To stay hot while the world is freezing cold. The same plot, but the story's never old. Slow clap for your kinfolk. Could've been asking what your info. Prosecutor could be trying to do you in for the 2020 twins, so you passing out the info. But no, you had purpose, you had plans. I ain't doing nothing, I'ma say these bands won't impress y'all, don't need no fans. That ain't my God, who is that man? This real men talk, real king ways. Still in captivity, but minds ain't slave. Got a little wisdom, boy, you peep these grades. Giving out the knowledge on the stoop these days. 1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. 1 time for the men doing cane things. Dead fresh to the T, living super clean. 3 times for my folk that done came up. 4 times cause the man can't control up. Yeah, real man. Sheesh. Yeah. Doing gang things. Living super clean. That it came up.
1 time for my king doing king things. Mom these hoes cause you know he got a good thing. I submit
Shalom and Shalom. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Give me one if you can hear me. Shalom, Yemaya. I was just sitting here running my mouth. I'm sorry, you guys. Greetings and salutations to everyone. Again, I am so happy to be with you on the eve of F3. In my mind, it starts on Saturday with our VIP meet and greet. So it's the eve of the eve for me. Thank y'all for being here with me this evening. Shalom, Yemaya. I had a good time chatting with you last night on the Truth Be Told podcast. Angelina, shalom and shalom. I cannot wait to see you guys, meet you guys. We have been praying for everyone to have safe travels here to Atlanta. We look forward to greeting you and just like really fellowshipping with y'all. I'm really looking forward to what the Most High is going to do at F3. All right, guys. So I know I've been talking about F3 since I got on here, But if you have not got your tickets, you have until Saturday at midnight to secure your regular tickets. I don't think there's any more vendor spots left. I'm pretty sure all the vendor spots are sold out. We opened up new ones, okay, and those are sold out. So all praises to the Most High for that. But if you want to grab your tickets, I know tomorrow is payday for a lot of y'all. So if you want to go ahead and grab your ticket tomorrow before the cutoff at midnight on Saturday, then head over to the number 3mgmusic.com to get your tickets for you, your fam, your friends, whoever you are bringing with you to the ATL. Shout out to the hardest working man that I know. Monologue with Gad, ladies and gentlemen. When I tell you that man is totally dedicated, and in my prayer time today, I really thought about it. And you know that you love God when you love your brothers who you can see. And I'm not just bragging because he's my husband, but I have to tell you, my husband has been an awesome example of that to me in my life. And so just to see him continue to pour into God's people is an inspiration. Listen, I'm telling you, if you can marry a man that can teach you something, marry a man that can teach you something, okay? But shout out to my husband and the entire F3 staff, everybody that's been helping and pitching in. Listen, if you know me, if you don't know me, if you want to get to know me and follow my content at Miss Mono's World. I try to be everywhere: Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and I do post shorts on YouTube. So please subscribe to my YouTube channel at Miss Mono's World. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Listen, if you have ever even sent 50 cents, $1, whatever to the Cash App, I just want to thank you. We want to thank you here at the House of Mono. If you like what we got going on here and you would like to be a part of it through your donations, please head over to the Cash App $ the House of Mono. Today, I have quite a few things to talk about, but our overall arching topic is going to be when you...
Sorry to bother you and your generous people that love you so much. As you're talking, are you able to copy that note and just paste it to me? Because it won't let me open the note.
Excuse me, guys. Okay. Can I just text it to your phone?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Anything.
Oh, and he want me to multitask. Okay, so sorry, I had to switch over from show host to personal assistant. And he want me to talk while I'm assisting. I'm here now, okay? All right. Back to my notes. Okay. The overall topic is when you refuse to obey. We're going to get into that. I do have a few clips for y'all. Before we got into the clip stuff, just a few little sidebars I want to have. The first sidebar is regarding this whole conversation about biological women, gatekeeping womanhood, and all that other stuff. And I'm not bringing nobody's clip up in here because they're not saying anything that you haven't heard before. But so my problem with that is this, and I know a lot of people aren't going to like that I'm saying that, but I'm going to say it. My problem, I'm trying to think how to say it because it is a problem. The problem is that we as Black women have rallied with, supported, became an ally to the G's in the community, okay? And so now that the G's are becoming the T's, not all of them, but now that the G's are becoming the T's, and now they want to claim to be women, the same women that was once, cheering for them and clapping for them, and yes, girling them and all that other stuff. Now you want to say, hold on. You're not really a woman. And again, I'm not excusing sin here. Let's be clear about this. We all know where the Bible stands on this issue. So I'm not excusing it, okay? But it's just we have to understand that this is why God is so adamant about what we're not supposed to do. Right? Because what did our parents used to say? You give the devil an inch, he'll take a mile. Right? So it was cute when we was in school and it was that one little boy that was on the cheer squad and he was on the dance team and he was because we had one at my school and all the little girls thought he was so cute and they was cheering him on and braiding his hair and all this other stuff. But now that he's a grown man and he wants to come in the bathroom with your daughter, now all of a sudden, oh wait, you're not one of us. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like this whole just hilarious going back and forth with TS Madison, like I'm really not. I'm gonna tell you why I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Not buying it because once we've seen her participate in work where members of the eligibility community, thank you, Yamaya, members of the eligibility community were starred, featured, prominent, whatever. So when you base your livelihood off of coming in contact with these people, kikiing and kakan in their face, and now all of a sudden you want to come out in the public and try to act like you have such a different stand, such a repulsion to their ideologies and their thought processes, I'm not buying it. That's pimping a little bit. Like, okay, I'm gonna use the T's and the G's as long as it's good for me. We can get up here on Wild 'N Out. We can have a good time. We can crack jokes and all this other good stuff. But oh no, this is where you have to draw the line. Again, it's the slippery slope of sin, right? If you ask someone who's hooked on fentanyl, I'm sure the first time they took fentanyl, their objective was not to become an addict. I'm sure the first time that a gambling addict sits at a craps table, his objective is not to become an addict, but it happens. Okay, this is how you get caught up in sin. The wiles of the enemy. You know, we are constantly warned about these things, to stay away from these things, to not take pleasure in these things, but we do. Okay. And then when these things are coming back to bite us in the butt, not just bite us in the butt, but how about to try to take our God-given place in humanity as women? Okay. Now you want to tell them, oh, no, you can't do that. So, you know, whatever. I'm a woman. You're not going to put cisgendered or cis or anything like that in front of my title as woman. I am woman, all woman, that is it. Okay. Shalom and shalom, Yanika. Thank you for joining me, sis. I'm trying to get my water out this thing. Okay. All right. So I know by now, I hope by now, you guys have seen that clone Tyrone. If you have not seen it, I suggest you watch it. Watch it when you have some time. It's good. It's really good. It's a little sci-fi. So, you know, if you haven't watched it, I probably wouldn't watch it at night. But it's a great movie. And you know, we've all heard the talks or whatever. Okay, facts. I'm a woman. Hello, a womb that comes with a period. I don't have to buy one. I don't have to try to take anyone else's. Okay, hello. So I wanted to discuss. They clone Tyrone, but I wanted to look at it from the woman's point of view. And I know there were not a lot of, you know, there was only one woman star. I get that. But the other thing, I'm sorry, y'all, trying to mess with the computer. The other thing I wanted to discuss, Yo-Yo, who played the hoe, and I also wanted to discuss the mom, Fontaine's mom. Feed me righteously, shalom and shalom. Thank you for joining me. I also want to discuss Fontaine's mom. Okay. Fontaine, the drug dealer, he's one of the main characters. After he finds out he's a clone, throughout the movie, he thinks he's talking to his mother. After he finds out he's a clone, he goes looking for his mom, and his mom is just a recording. Okay. So let's talk about that first, right? Because as a mother and as a Black mother who has no problem examining myself, examining my past, the things that have been poured into me that maybe, I need to change. Um, it was just very startling. I'm not gonna lie, it was startling, because you don't expect that. I'm gonna speak at least for my age group. The Black mother was always supposed to be there. And I hate to say it because I know it's not right, but the Black mom has always covered us, right? Um, Even when nobody else was around, even when dad left and, nobody else would help, mom was always there. And so let's even go back to the role of Big Mama in the community and we let how we let the propagation of the strong Black woman drive the man out of the home. Okay. Um, so let's just cop that to the Reagan era. Okay. Our men leaving. I'm not saying it started in the 80s, but for me in my lifetime, the 80s is when I can pinpoint, okay, this is when I can say this started happening. Um, okay, so you get the fathers to leave the home, right? But so what have we seen since the fathers have left the home? Slowly but surely, the moms are not caring now. Just a few weeks ago, I shared that clip with you guys of the mother who was saying she didn't want nothing to do with the child. She was dropping the child off at the fire station. Okay. Um, there are there have been stories about mothers killing their children. There was a story about one mom choking her baby on live because she was mad at the father for whatever reason. Okay. And the Bible talks about women's eyes being filled with hatred toward their children in these last days that we're living in. Um, and now you have this whole zeitgeist we're in where motherhood is looked at as a burden and a curse, not as a blessing and a gift. So you have women who don't want to have children, who do have children and have no problem aborting them, who do have children and will neglect them. I mean, so much of what we see is opposite of motherhood. And so just having this recording there, I felt like it was representative of this younger, and hear what I'm saying, this younger generation of mothers. I'm not saying that, our parents didn't do it. I'm not saying that. Um, but even if let's go back to our parents in the 80s, what you saw then was grandmas stepping in, right? If unfortunately a mother and a father fell to drugs or whatever, you would see the kids go with the grandmother. But we don't have those grandmothers anymore. Um, and as always, I'm gonna go back to TV. All right. The the first show that I can remember in mainstream that to me seemed to devalue the grandmother role was Family Matters. It was Family Matters. I don't know if you guys recall, but Carl's mother moved in, and of course, she was a henpecker, just like Harriet. No respect for the man, nothing like that. But she was always trying to portray like a younger persona. Like, oh no, I got a life. I gotta be out at the party. Just because I'm old doesn't mean I'm gonna be at home. So then you see the grandma going from the loving, caring, nurturing, always present grandmother to grandma trying to go out and shake her thing too. You know what I'm saying? Me and grandma and mama at the club together. And the baby is home being the baby. So that's what that represented to me. That mom piece was really kind of for me. So let's get to Yo-Yo. Um, oh man, as a young Black woman who has her own past, I'm not gonna lie to you. That character really resonated with me. I'm gonna be honest with that. And when you resonated with a hoe, yes, I did. Yeah, I did because I'm a young Black girl who grew up in the hood. So yeah, I could resonate with that. And like I said, you know, I don't sugarcoat stuff with y'all. I have my own stories and my own testimony. Um, and so what really stood out to me about Yo-Yo is she was smart, right? She was optimistic, she was well read, she wanted to travel, she knew of other places in the world. And even like when everything starts happening, she's like, "Oh no, I'm out of here. I'm going to look for a better life." Um and we see her trying to go for that better life, but then what happens? A problem arises. And now instead of her going for hers, because she's supposed to get her money together and go to Memphis, right? But now instead of her going for hers, now she feels obligated to turn around and help the hood. So how many of us, and hear what I'm saying, and applying it to our own life, not necessarily a plot of the movie, but how many of us have felt like God was leading us in a different direction, and because of a man, we didn't go? And, you know, if y'all don't want to admit it, I will. I've done something dumb like that before, and it never works out. And so you go through this cycle of, if you want to call it relationships, situations or whatever. And I'm gonna tell you this. I know a lot of y'all might be like, "Oh, I can't relate to the hoe. I can't relate to the hoe." Ma'am, sis, cousin, just because you're not being paid directly for your sex outside of marriage with your husband does not make it, does not mean that you're not a hoe. I mean, if you volunteered at a school to help the janitor, you're still a janitor. Volunteer or paid or not, you're still a janitor. So whether you choose to get paid for your sex work or not, you're still a hoe. Okay. And I'm saying this because I need us to stop trying to escape accountability. And I need us as Black women to stop playing games. That's what I need. I need us to stop playing games, and I need us to act like things aren't what they are. All right. And I give this analogy all the time. We love to judge other people based on how they look. Listen, if I'm in a post office and I see anybody walk in with a long trench coat and a dark hat, I'm leaving. Okay. This does not look safe to me. I'm leaving. If you are somewhere and a man walks up behind you and you decide that you don't feel safe, you're going to ring the alarm. I don't feel safe. This does not look good to me. So, how come when elders and those of us who are a little more enlightened are looking at our young Black girls and saying, "Hey, y'all look like hoes. Y'all need to stop looking like this"? Why are we wrong for that? Because they need to clone you again and again and again. That's why. That's why the voices that are trying to protect some kind of modesty and preservation for Black women are often shut down, because you can't clone hoes turning hoes into housewives. You can't do that. And yeah, that's the saying. You can't turn a hoe into a housewife, but you can. You can if she wants to be. And I'm saying that because unless you're a virgin, then I know nobody wants to deal with that. It's like, I'm not a virgin, but I'm not a hoe. Are you married? Are you legally, biblically having sex with the person or people that you are having sex with? Because there's no sense in me sitting here talking about it, trying to break it down if we're not going to be real about ourselves so that we can see the character flaws in ourselves, have an honest conversation with ourselves in hopes for some self-edification. Like, that's the only way this is going to happen. All right, let me get to y'all's comments. She played a great role. I like Yo-Yo. Yes, the mom hurt my feelings. Mine too. Oh, it hurt so bad. It hurt so bad. Deuteronomy 28:56-57. The character, I know I hate the characters. But if you could type up as much as you can. Hoes get wiped up too every day. Because no one wants to be called out about their sin. That's the truth about it. That is the truth. That's the truth about it. And so we have to get past that. We have to get past not wanting to recognize our own shortcomings. Because if we won't admit it, then we can't ever change. That, if you think about it, they were living their lives, right? Until this information was put in their face. So if they had never seen Fontaine be cloned and they never found the underground bunkers and this information was never presented to them, they would have continued cloning drug dealers and hoes and pimps. And they would have continued on with their life as it was. But once they learned, I mean, we don't see the after in the movie, but the idea is that now that they've learned these lessons, they're going to go about changing, right? And it's all good for us to sit back and have opinions about a movie and write these wonderful think pieces. I'm not saying anything about the breakdowns of the movies that are coming out, because I've heard some really good ones. So what I'm saying is, even in all these great think pieces, if we will not be honest with ourselves and examine ourselves and see what our role is in all of this, then you may have well been watching The Cat in the Hat. If you will not say, yikes, I've been there. Yeah, I've done that. Or yes, I'm still doing this. Yes, I need help with that. Whether you be hoe, drug dealer, or pimp. Or, whatever you want to call yourself. Whatever kind of sex worker you want to call yourself. If you're not willing to be real with yourself and you're not willing to admit with yourself, then there's no hope for you. It's like when you see a bunch of strippers praying before they go out to the floor. And I know what y'all about to say. Well, everybody should also pray. God's not hearing that. And I have no qualms about saying that to you, because these women are in the process of breaking the law. Am I saying that they shouldn't pray? No, I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, you can't have a real relationship with God if you are not willing to keep up your end of the deal. You can't. I mean, it's like, yeah, anybody can DM me on Instagram. I don't have to know you for you to DM me. You can DM me. I might read it. I might feel a little sorry for you. But am I obligated to do anything for you? No, I don't know you. You're not my family. I don't have any relationship with you. And when you refuse to keep the laws of God, it's the same thing. Sure, you can send him the DM. He might read it. And because he's a good and merciful God, he will have grace and mercy, for as long as he will have grace and mercy on you. But that ain't it. That's not the way to live. Oh, yes, the tender and delicate woman among you. Yes, which would not venture to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Her eye shall be evil toward the man of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. That is what we're literally living in right now. That is literally what we're living in right now. And that's what's so infuriating about people denying the Bible. It's like, look, it's right here. The description. I don't know if you guys have ever handled a DSM manual, but if you ever worked in a medical office and you needed to look up like a code for the insurance company, you go to the CPT or the DSM and there's these books with these codes in it, and it describes the condition. So it could be 7140, which is impacted wisdom teeth. I used to write that all the time. That's how I know it, right? 7140, impacted wisdom teeth. You will go to this book and see the very condition that you have, but you will refuse to acknowledge it. You'll see, oh yes, evil towards her man, her son, and her daughter. Wow, that sounds like me or some of my friends that I know. And instead of looking at this and saying, Lord, please help me. I need to repent. I don't want to be like this. Help me to change. You'll just totally gloss over that. Like, well, they ain't talking to me. When they was very much talking to you. But anyway, so that's one more thing about Yo-Yo's role or character. When the man chased them down, and they were all standing outside the car, and Yo-Yo tried to buck at him, the man had Fontaine subdue her. And he told her, Chester, Fontaine, and Slick Charles, they're all expensive. You're a hoe. You come a dime a dozen. And that hit me again. And so, of course, you got to start thinking about it. And the life of a Black male, it's so fragile. And they talk about how, if they make it to 25, it's a blessing. If they make it to 40, it's a miracle. And so when you think about the fact that girls are so much more, there are a lot more women than there are men. It was really that was kind of hurtful too, as a woman, as a Black woman, to know that is the thought of you. Yeah, it was really hurtful. And, I know you might be saying, well, they was saying that to a hoe. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, how are Black women being represented in the media right now? Are we being represented as something other than whores? And Beyonce's married and Cardi is okay. They're married whores. They're married whores. They sell their sexuality. They sell the illusion of seduction and intimacy. Okay. So it's not that far removed from us. And I think that was something for all Black women, not just Black women in the hood. Okay. And so let's just go into the next thing. Not just Black women in the hood, because we just talked about this with the whole Carly Russell situation. When one of us do something, all of us carry the blame, the load, and the shame for it. It reflects on all of us. So, that's what makes it so hurtful when I see Black women supporting other Black women in nonsense. It kind of, it got me a little disturbed when people are out here talking about, oh, Carly don't need to go to jail. Why the hell she don't? Why doesn't she? See, it's one thing for one person to do something crazy. We're all looking at this person like, but something is a little wrong with her. She's a little touched. But when you sit here in front of the whole world that's watching and say, oh, no, there's nothing wrong with her. We just gonna brush this under. Now we all look crazy. we all look crazy. And I could get into breaking that whole thing. I'm not going to. I feel like we talked about that enough. But yeah. Okay. So let's go to this next clip. I'm gonna show you the clip. Then we're gonna talk about it. Okay. I don't know if you guys have heard of the issue with Young Miami having her son at a strip club at Rolling Loud. Now, fair use. Somebody please put fair use in the chat. This is for educational purposes only. I'm gonna show y'all this and then we'll talk about it. Okay, so he's throwing money. You see where he's at. Okay. Just in case you weren't clear, there's booty for you. Okay. Just in case you were unclear about where this little child was. Thank you, Yamaya. Oh yes. Oh yes. You didn't know about this? Yes. So Young Miami. Hey, Leah, shalom and shalom. Young Miami took her 10-year-old son with her to Rolling Loud. Where that video that you just saw of him throwing money at strippers was recorded. Before we get into this, like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we go live here at the House of Mono. Go ahead and hit that like button for me. If you like what we got going on here at the House of Mono, please feel free to hit the Cash App $ the House of Mono. I thank you so much in advance. If you have given, if you will give, I appreciate each and every one of you. Okay, so she was asked to address it. Let me pull the thing up. The article. Yeah, I wanted to read what she said, okay? And her response, because someone reposted the video and said, you're going to address this and tags her. Okay, they weren't playing. So she replied, that's why I don't post my kid. Y'all BITCHs can talk a sore in y'all mouth about me, but I'll never give y'all the chance to have an opinion about my kids. Okay. And then here's her friend. Me and Jay do Rolling Loud together every year. It's my favorite time because I get to bond with him and turn up. This is the best year. I love the smile on his face. I'm a cool auntie. So not only is this child's mother crazy, so is her friend, which, I don't think that's a surprise to anyone here. We all know about the City Girls and what they do, what they stand for, and what they represent. But what I am so freaking disturbed as a mother, as an adult, okay? As an adult. First of all, why you have a child at Rolling Loud? It's clearly a drug fested sorry guys. It's clearly a narcotics themed event. So why would you have your child there in the first place? I'm going to say that it is child CP. I'm going to say, what is it not? Okay. You're not going to, I would not take my child to Rolling Loud, period. But then to have the child in a strip club, and listen here, okay, I live in Atlanta. All right. I spent my teens and my 20s here. I came to Atlanta in the 8th grade. All right. So I've been out. Okay. I've been out. You can't even bring a kid in a strip club. Where do they allow these kind of things? Okay. That's the first thing. Why is the child there in the first place? The fact that we don't care enough about our children to let them be children is so heartbreaking to me. You are turning this child over to lust and perversion before he even has a chance to develop his own taste his own anything. Hold on, I'm sorry, y'all. I had a teenager FaceTime me. I just want to make sure she's okay. Okay, sorry. You're turning this child over to lust and perversion before he has a chance to develop a healthy attitude about sex. Before he can even learn, you know, the functionality, what it is, what it's supposed to be, what it's supposed to do, you are exposing it, you're exposing him to it in its most vilest form. And I don't have a problem saying that. I don't know if y'all think that's strong language, but it is vile. It is vile to have a 10-year-old in that situation. Let's see. I only been to the strip club twice in my whole life, and I was in my mid-20s. That's so stupid, but Carisha ain't that bright. Well, neither one of them displayed the best behavior at this point. Okay, and I want to be careful with my words because I don't ever want to personally attack anyone. Because at the end of the day, like, I'm praying for all my sisters to come to repentance, and get right with the Most High. I really am. But this behavior cannot continue. We had the situation with Suki not too long ago when she was twerking in front of I think that child was 10 as well. Boosie having his son attend a birthday party with strippers and everything else. Why don't, and let's exclude Boosie because I just want to focus on the mothers. Like, why are we as mothers so willing to subject our child, and I'm gonna just be honest, to something that has messed up so many of our lives? I've always been honest with my daughters and saying one of my biggest regrets was having sex outside of marriage. That is one of my biggest regrets because I can see where it led me to make so many dumb decisions and so many mistakes. One of the things that I wish I could go back and change is that. And so this is the problem when we are not willing to be honest with ourselves and examine ourselves and look back over our lives. Okay, we will lead our children down the wrong path or even worse. Or even worse. Because I'm sorry, a 10-year-old? Are you freaking kidding me? She's affiliated with Honey. Look, don't even, why you bring that into the picture? Because we all know what they say about him. So we're not gonna go to, that could add a whole nother dimension to this child. But it's just really disappointing. It's disappointing to me. It's disturbing. And the behavior is disturbing and her response is disturbing. And I feel like if you ever need to see what a reprobate mind looks like, just look at a black woman being called out on anything. And I know I'm not supposed to say that. I'm supposed to be support all women, but I've never been support all women because I'm not going to support you when you're wrong. Okay, girl, that's a whole other series right there. Not a girl. Listen, if that child is at the all white party, then we know that what we think is. But yeah, a great example of a reprobate mind. The way she responded. IDGAF. I don't care what y'all gotta say. I don't care. Talk all you want to see an example of a reprobate mind? That's one right there. That is one right there. Okay. And it's so disturbing. It is just again, this is the problem. This is the problem with her not realizing or not wanting to admit that anything is wrong with her, right? And here's she doesn't even have the sense to say, yeah, I might be doing this, but I want to keep this from my kid. Right? Like there was a time when that was a thing. Like, yeah, your parents might have been out in the street doing they 1-2 or whatever, but you didn't know about it. There was, we all had the weird uncles and aunties, but we couldn't quite put our finger on what was weird about them. You understand what I'm saying? There was a time when childhood and innocence was respected. And it's not anymore. It is not anymore. Parents don't even care enough to say, I don't want my child to do this. Or at least let them wait until they can make their own choices and decisions about this thing before I just throw them into it. But it's not even like that anymore. So, yeah, it's horrible. That's the motto. Right, exactly. Okay, so let's get on to our main topic. All this is going to come back full circle. Let's talk about when you refuse to obey, right? I'm going to show 2 clips, and then we're going to get into the conversation, all right? Now, I'm going to show you this first clip. It's kind of a jokey joke. All right, fair use, fair use.
For better, for worse, for richer, for poor.
For poorer.
And I don't have a problem with stumbling at the poor part. Not saying, that, oh, you shouldn't be there for rich or poor. No, you absolutely should, but let's not go calling these things. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, now let's watch this one.
In sickness, and in health, to love, cherish, and to obey.
We didn't talk about that one in counseling.
We did talk about that in counseling. Yes, we did. So you want me to repeat that again? You want to just keep going?
I think we can keep going.
All right.
Okay. And I'm sure you all have probably seen this. Oh, listen, I'm not mad at her for the for poorer thing. Might have stumbled upon that one myself. But it's the refusing to obey. All right, and let's be clear. I'm not coming off on a high horse like I'm the perfect wife or anything like that. Okay. Because I feel like we are all that woman. We're all that woman. Whether it be naturally with our husbands or spiritually with the Most High, we have all been that woman who refuses to obey. Okay. She wouldn't even let him repeat it. He said, the Reverend said, do you want me to repeat it? She said, no, we can just keep going. Okay. So she wanted no parts of obey. We did talk about that in counseling. No, she said they didn't. That's what she said. Honestly, I guess she was trying to be funny, but in the end, she still should have said what was required. Yeah, she may have been trying to be funny, but it came off totally wrong. It came off totally wrong. And so again, like I'm saying, I'm not sitting up here saying I'm the perfect wife and I do things right all the time. The verse that came to me for this was Titus 3:2-3, which says to speak evil of no man, to be no brawlers, but gentle, showing meekness unto all men. For we ourselves also were sometimes foolish, disobedient, deceived, serving diverse lusts and pleasures, living in malice and envy, hateful, and hating one another. Okay. So it's not a spirit of arrogance, haughtiness, or anything like that that I'm coming to you in when I talk about you should be obedient naturally and spiritually. I'm going to deal with the natural first because of the clip. And I'm going to say this to my single sisters. If the word obey triggers you, you probably are not ready to get married. I'm just going to say, I don't have the patience to play around with words, right? And some women are like, well, can you say cooperation or can you say no, because you need to understand the gravity of what you are asking the Lord to have you commit to, because you're the one asking for the husband, sis. You're the one asking for the husband. And the obey comes with the husband. And if the obey can't come with the husband, then that's not the husband, babe. If you don't feel safe and secure enough to commit to obeying and following this man, then you need hard left. Run away. Because now what you're setting yourself up, if you are going to marry a man that you cannot obey, now you are setting yourself up to be in disobedience to the Most High. There's no way around that. And I know, right? Like, oh no, my relationship with God is personal. And I'm not saying it's not, okay? But my kids have a personal relationship with their father, okay? But when they need something, want something or whatever, they come to me because I'm here. I'm the one that their father put in charge of them, right? So they're going to come to me. And now if it's a problem that we can't figure out together, or if I can't get an answer, now I'm going to the father, okay? Same thing with your husband. That is who your father put there to watch over you, be in charge of you. This is why our fathers are supposed to give us away to our husbands. I know. Oh my God, male authority all my life. What do you hope to gain by freeing yourself from male authority? I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I didn't like living by myself as a single woman. I did not like it. I did not like having to do all of those things by myself. I did not like not feeling safe and secure all the time. And I did not like the way other men handled me, treated me, seeing that I was a single woman. I didn't like it. All right. And so again, I don't know what it is that women are looking for, or what they feel like being obedient is keeping them from. All right. If y'all, I'm not gonna show the clip because they took my video down last time, but Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, if you watched it this past week, you saw Sierra and Scrappy get into an argument. Now, Sierra started the argument. Sierra approached this man about what's going on with him and his soon-to-be ex-wife, okay? So, of course, like, it's gonna be explosive. But so then when Scrappy starts trying to tell her, like, hey, shut up, mind your business, now all of a sudden she's looking for another man to come rescue her. Ma'am, sis cousin, if you would have been in your place, that man would have never came at you like that. And then you wouldn't be, because it's nobody's responsibility to come and protect you when you fall out of the lines of protection. What are the lines of protection? Obedience. Because now listen, my husband sets lines of protection when it comes to my spending because I like to shop, okay? So if my husband sets this budget and says, okay, you can spend $500 this time, and I'm constantly going outside of that and doing what I want to do and doing, spending how I want to spend it and everything else because it's my money too, or whatever BS reason I give myself to be out of order. All right. And I keep doing this. And then eventually my car gets repossessed. Our home gets, like, we face this financial demise. I can't look at nobody and say anything but me, because I did not stay in the lines of protection. And this is what y'all want protection without obedience, and it just does not work like that. You know what? I know I'm not supposed to be like this, but listen, I keep ice cream in my purse. I keep a switch in my purse. No, I don't want to call it that because it's not that. I'm just trying not to say I keep a pew pew in my purse, okay? I know this pew pew is going to protect me because if, God forbid, I ever went to pull that hammer back, it's going to do what I'm telling it to do. That's how I can count on it for protection. It's not going to jump up and click back on its own. It's just not, those kind of things just don't happen. Okay? If my husband tells me, stop talking, I got this, then I need to stop talking, he got this. Right? Now, if I keep talking and something happens, I'm a fool to turn around and look at him and say, well, why you didn't protect me? Why you didn't stop that? He tried to stop it when he told me to stop talking, but I didn't. And so if you're not ready to, if you're not, I don't want to make it, let me paint the picture, okay? Because I don't want to make it sound like my husband is some kind of brutish authoritarian. That's not how it is in our house. What usually happens, he'll if I go to him with something, if he agrees, cool, great, we agree. If he does not agree, I am allowed to state my grievance. I'm allowed to state my grievance. And then we respectfully take the conversation from there. Now, if once I've stated my grievance, my husband does not feel moved to change his mind, and I feel like he should have been moved to change his mind, my option now is to go and pray. All right. And let me talk to the women for a minute, the wives in particular. If I feel like what I'm asking for isn't unlawful, well, I would never ask for anything that's unlawful. So let's be clear about that. I'm not asking for anything that's unlawful. But if I feel like it's something that he could kind of do, or it's a couple of dollars he could kind of give me, he just maybe don't want to, then I have no problem closing the bedroom door and using my powers of persuasion. But I'm not using those powers of persuasion to do anything that's going to take away from my family. You understand what I'm saying? If my husband gave me that $500 budget because this is my spending budget for the month, I'm not going to use my powers of persuasion to try to get him to blow that budget. Okay? And also, don't be afraid to use those powers of persuasion to encourage him. Sometimes it's not always about what you want. Sometimes your husband just needs a little stress relief or a little encouragement. So, you can persuade him in those ways as well. I hope y'all don't need a class on that. I hope you don't. Let's get back to the comments. I be trying not to hold back on y'all. I just, yeah, exactly. She can't keep a man, but she all up in somebody else's business. Okay. Like, share, subscribe. Turn on your notifications so you know when we go live at Miss Mono's World, at Monologue McGad. If you like what we have going on here, please head to the Cash App, $ the House of Mono. All right, so obedience in the natural. That, I think that basically, look, if you are not ready to obey, if the word obey bothers you, or any synonym of obey, submission, allowance, permission, any of those family of words bother you, then I suggest maybe you don't get married just yet. For my married sisters, come on now. Like, you already know what you're supposed to be doing. You already know what you're supposed to be doing. You already know what your job is. And here's what I'm gonna say about this. I don't know how you sit right in your spirit as a wife if you are not actively and positively supporting your husband's vision. I'm not here to discuss what your husband may be doing wrong. That is between you, him, and the Most High. If you are listening to me now, whether live on or on the recording, and you're saying like, well, that sounds good for you, sis, because your man is doing this, and yeah, you can talk that, sis, because you're not here, with me dealing with that. You got to pray about that thing. You have got to pray about that thing. There's nothing me or anybody else is going to tell you that's going to excuse you from obeying your husband. And I'm not even talking about excuse in the sense of other people's opinions. I just mean excuse in the sense of your obligation to the Most High. Because when you married that man, you made that commitment in front of God and your family to love, honor, obey. So, okay. And the most important aspect of this, and this is going to cover all of us, right? We have to talk about our spiritual obedience. We have to talk about that. We need to examine that. Because we love to have these quick sayings about God, right? And he'll never put more on us than we can bear. And I know God don't play about me, and I know I'm one of God's favorites. No biblical basis for what you're saying. But you just know you're one of God's favorites, and God hears your prayer and all this other stuff. Listen, if you're not obeying, then no, you're not. You're hating from outside the club and you can't even get in. Like, you literally can't get in. You're not up to par. You don't meet the standards. You didn't even try to accommodate the dress code. And so what's always struck me, even in thinking about my own life and looking back over my own life, is the condition of sin that we will be living in and still expect God to come through like we're just honor roll students. And so here's what we have to understand, right? Just like in real life and everything else, opportunity comes to those who work. Opportunity comes to those who work. If you are constantly searching and trying to better yourself, then those opportunities to do that will arise. Right? But if you are never seeking, if you're never trying to find obedience, and I'm saying find it because I don't know what you're going through in your life. You know what I'm saying? Obedience for me, being a good wife, being a good mother, being a good servant. Obedience for you might be being a good mother, being a steward over your business, or whatever that looks like for you, okay? But the condition of the lack of obedience, but the expectation of favor, let's just call it that, right? Because whatever, favor ain't fair while you're fornicating. And sometimes y'all just mistake favor for hard work or a happy chance. Just like we like to talk about, how Beyonce and the rest of the industry get up on award night and they thank God, but God had nothing to do with it. Sometimes that's the same thing that's going on in our lives as well. I know I'm not supposed to say that, but it's true. Sometimes that's the same thing that's going on with us. And we always love to point it out in people who are outwardly disobedient, right? It's easy to point at them and say, oh my gosh, look at her. She dressed like a slut. Oh my God, look at her. She's sleeping around. Oh my God, look at him. He out here selling dope. Or it's so easy to look at someone who is outwardly in sin and point at them and use them as an example. But how many of us are willing to take them 3 fingers as pointing back at us? Because when you point one at somebody else, there's 3 pointing back at you. So how many of us are willing to take them 3 fingers pointing at us and say, oh, yeah, you know what? I still deal with this and I need help. I still deal with this. So let me be honest and hopefully help one of my brothers and sisters. We won't do that because we're too ashamed. We're too worried about what people who don't need God think of us, that we can't reach those who need God. Okay. We're so busy worried about the person that's next to us in prayer, right? The person that's already coming to worship, the person that we know already keeps the law, statutes, and commandments. We're so worried about them and what they think that we can't reach the person that still needs the message. Okay. Um, it's like the Most High walking up, and I'm sorry, not the Most High. It's like Jesus walking up to you with his disciples, and you're sitting there saying, help me, I can't see. But he's too worried about what the disciples think about him to try to heal you because you're dirty and you can't see. Or if when there was 5,000 men, not counting women and children, and they took the fish and the bread, and Jesus was like, well, I'm hungry, so I'm gonna eat first. Me and my people gonna eat because we hungry. It's that same kind of selfishness when you refuse to release your testimony to bring others into the kingdom. It's that same kind of selfishness. It How can you refuse to lead me to God and say that you don't hate me? Because if you love me, you'll lead me in all righteousness, won't you? Right? If you love me, you're going to point out the right way because you don't want me to be hurt. You don't want me to suffer damnation. You don't want me to go through the wages of sin. So if you love me like you say you love me, if you love God like you say you love God, then at all cost, you're willing to reach his people. And what I'm saying at all costs is I don't care who sits up here and judges me. Listen, I've had this conversation with my husband before. There's nothing about me that my husband does not already know. Whether I told it to him himself, whatever. Listen, when we got together and we decided we were going to get together and be for real with each other, we gave each other the phone numbers, passwords. We gave each other everything. And he went through everything as I did with him. He showed me things, I showed him things. So there's nothing that I'm going to ever say that he doesn't already know. And I talk to him a lot, like I don't want to embarrass him. I never want to embarrass my husband. And I never want to bring him to any kind of shame or anything like that. But ladies, this is why it's so important who you marry. Because if my husband was any less of a man, then I may not be as free to speak to you guys the way that I do. And so now who's hurting? Okay? Because when you're hurting and you're in sin, I don't want to come and hear some beat around the bush message. I don't want to hear your little pity pat oh, I just made a few wrong decisions in my life, but praise the Lord, he woke me up this morning. No, that's not what I'm here for. I got some real hurt and some real pain. My heart is really broke, and I need to see somebody else who's overcome a broken heart to remind me that God is able. Do we not overcome by the word of our testimony? So if you're never giving your testimony, you're not only are you not overcoming, because sometimes the testimony is also to remind you. Sometimes when I'm sitting up here talking to y'all, I be preaching to myself, encouraging myself. Sometimes it helps me to look back and see how far the Lord has brought me from. All right. So I'm not overcoming and you not overcoming because I won't open my mouth and share my testimony. There are people around you right now today who you kiki and caca in their face all day, but they're waiting for you to get real with them and to touch their spirit. They're waiting for you to drop your veil, to stop worrying about being embarrassed, to stop worrying more about what men think than what God thinks. And keep it funky with them. And hear me, use wisdom and discretion. I'm not saying to go out here and pour your soul out to every person that you meet. But no, you know when you feel that unction, that burden to take the conversation to the next level. I don't get deep in conversations with everyone that I run into. It's in my heart to witness to everyone. Sure, I want to tell everyone about how good God is. Yes, why wouldn't I scream it from the mountaintop? But if I come in contact with a person and I see that their spirit is not in a place to receive this, I'm not casting my pearls before swine. I'm not about to do it. It's like feeding a 10-year-old truffle-covered Wagyu. They're not going to appreciate it at all. They're going to take it, they're going to smear it, they're going to throw it around, they're going to trash it. It's the same thing, when we give people the word of God who are not ready to receive it. All right? And so just be careful. I'm not saying go out here with reckless abandon and tell all of your business. But what I am saying is when you feel led of the Holy Spirit, don't let the opinion of those around you keep you from saying the words that God is putting in your mouth. Okay? And even beyond that, the things that you do, the way that you carry yourself, if the Most High is dealing with you about the way you dress when you go out, then you never know who is watching you. And when I go out covered and dressed, I get such a different reaction. Such a different reaction. It's like people feel like they see a breath of fresh air or something. So there's something to that. There is something to how we dress and how we carry ourselves that lends to us being set apart. There was a time in the 90s where individuality was stressed. Like if you went to school in the 90s, you remember when the kids started to come into school all goth and emo and they were trying to be individuals and all this other stuff. It doesn't seem like anybody's really stressing individuality anymore. It's all like, just jumbling everybody together. And so I feel like going along with this flow of equality and how they try to give the participation trophy attitude. I want to call it that because everybody's involved. All you have to do is show up and you're a winner, right? The participation trophy. When it's like that, then you get fooled into thinking that, oh, well, all I have to do is say good morning to God and we're fine. You forget that there's a race to make it to the end to. You forget we're striving toward the mark. It's a journey. It's not, you don't just, see, that's the problem again with the lies of church and making you feel like, oh, you go to the altar and you're saved. And so it's no wonder why people don't grow spiritually attending church because you told me I'm saved already. So what else am I striving for? What else is there for me to do? I'm saved. I'm going to go to heaven when I die. And according to y'all, no matter what I go out here and do, as long as I get a quick prayer in after I finish it, I'm good. So what is there to strive for? What am I pressing toward? What am I fighting against? When you feel like you're saved already, then there is no spiritual battle for you. You're not battling against principalities because you're saved already. And no matter what happens in the world, you're saved already. So nothing else matters. There's no push to get your brothers and sisters to be obedient because in your mind, you're saved already. And when God punches your ticket, you're going to heaven. So nothing else matters. I'm already an overcomer. The devil is under my feet. Ain't that what they've been telling us all of our lives? Only for us to become adults and realize that no, the devil was smiling in your face the whole time and he's still right there. Holla if you hear me. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm lying, let me know in the comments. Put a 3 in the chat if you think I'm lying. That's good. Yes. If we are saved by grace, then what's the judgment for? And see, here's like we want everybody else to undergo judgment, right? We want God to judge America. We want God to judge this, and we want God to judge that. Do you want God to judge you? And hear what I'm saying now. Hear what I'm saying? Oh, shalom, nephew. Oh, Angelina, your son is here. That is so awesome. Welcome, nephew. I hope I get to meet you at F3 this weekend. There we go. Oh, I forgot where I was going with that. Yeah, so okay, judgment. And let I had a conversation with a young lady and she was contemplating aborting a pregnancy. And we talked and she's confessed. She was like, I feel like I've been running from judgment. And let me be clear with you guys, okay? Judgment, when it's done in love, should be welcomed. It should be welcome. And no, it's not easy. Listen, I have a hard time dealing with criticism. I don't like to be criticized. Like, if you're not telling me that I'm pretty and my eyes are pretty and my hair is pretty and, I smell like roses and my breath smells like sunflowers in the morning. Like, if you're not telling me that, I really kind of don't want to hear what you have to say. That's the flesh of me. Okay. I can admit that's the flesh of me. That's the human in me. But my spirit woman, because my woman is a spirit, okay? My spirit is a woman, I'm sorry. But my spirit woman knows, like, nah, girl, we need to get this right. Like, as soon as we pinpoint that problem, and let me be clear, I'm not even gonna say as soon as, because I struggle with things daily. All right. I struggle. Listen, I struggle with insecurities. Yes, I'm insecure sometimes. Even in my marriage, sometimes I get insecure. Okay. I struggle with emotions. I'm a woman of a certain age and my hormones be all over the place. Like, I have things that I struggle with on a daily basis. Okay. But what kind of fool would I be to not bring those things to the forefront, bring them to the Most High so that they can get resolved? Okay. And so when you're bringing those things to the forefront and you bring it to the Most High, you are opening yourself up for judgment. And I know that's why a lot of us don't want to be real. We don't want to hear God say, like, girl, that's not that smart. Girl, you got to stop doing that. And listen, I know the feeling of, damn, I don't want to go through anything. I don't want to be punished. Like, I don't want to be hurt behind it. I get avoiding punishment. Trust me. Okay. But if you don't go through the thing, you're going to be stuck in the same place. It's just like some of you, if you go back in your life 5 years ago, and think about some of the opportunities maybe that you did take advantage of, some of the opportunities for growth. It maybe wasn't an opportunity at your job, but just an opportunity for spiritual growth that then allowed you to be able to do other things. You know what I'm saying? Think about how you did those things, and then look back at the people that are no longer around you. They're stuck where they were because they were not willing to go through that. Listen, the woman that I was 9 years ago is not the woman that I am today. And the only way that I was able to grow into the woman that I am today is that I had to be willing to sit there and take the judgment, take the chastisement, take the criticism, not only from the Most High, but from my husband. And I know nobody wants to hear that. And I feel like that's why a lot of women pick men who they don't feel obligated to obey. One of the things that I will always say is get you a man that can teach you something, somebody that you can learn from. Like, I love the fact that my husband has been in ministry for so long. So now I'm just kind of like following behind him. I don't have to go out here and reinvent the wheel. I don't have to go out here and rewrite a program. I just follow behind I can follow behind the footsteps that my husband has already laid. Okay? So even if it may not be career-wise, like your husband, how you gonna submit to somebody with no authority? Spiritual authority is what I'm saying. Because if my husband can't get a prayer listen, if the nigga can't get a prayer through, he can't do nothing for what can you do, sir? You can't do the Lord is not hearing you. What could you possibly do for me? When my baby's got a fever and I need to get a prayer through, I need to know that we can go in there and daddy can lay hands on them and pray for them and they're gonna be fine. When I'm having a bad day and I'm feeling stressed out, I need to know that I can go in there and lay on my man's chest and he gonna pray for me and I'm gonna be fine. But some of y'all can't do that because your man be in a corner crying too. Everybody in the house crying and it's a mess. But these are the comforts that come with obedience. Even being obedient to the Most High, when he says, okay, yes, you can marry that one. Okay, no, don't marry that one. Even it, oh my gosh, y'all, please forgive me. My children are so rude. Even in that, you have to, you can't get the protection without the obedience. And okay, sorry, y'all, kids. I mean, it's just like with your child, right? You are reluctant to give things to that child who doesn't listen. That child who don't listen, you don't trust them with nothing because you don't listen. So no, I'm not going to give you the keys to my car because I can't trust you to listen and not go out here and kill yourself or someone else. No, I'm not giving you this money. I can't trust you to not spend it on something destructive. So you want the Most High to give you a man for what? So you can destroy his life too? You won't even be obedient to the Most High. When he tells you, hey, be quiet, I need to spend some time with you, we need to pray, you won't even do that. But you want him to send you a man that's going to require the same thing of you. And let me just say this, okay? I know we have this picture of what marriage is supposed to be and how it's going to be. And we're just going to be happy every day in love and we're going to live in La La Land. And I must say, all praise to the Most High. For the most part, me and my husband do live in La La Land. Okay. But every now and then we have issues and contentions that have to be addressed. Right. And it's not always easy. It's not always easy. Every day is not joyful, right? But just like I said about my security and my marriage coming from my husband's relationship with the Most High, your husband's security with you needs to come from that same place. Like your husband needs to know that if he can't get through to you, that the Most High can. Okay. He needs to know that, okay, she might be a little, she might pop off at the mouth, but she ain't really going to do nothing crazy because I know her heart is to please the Most High first. Okay. But if your man can't say that about you, then what guarantees does he have about your behavior? My husband knows my heart is for the Most High first. So he does not worry about certain things. Like he just does not, at least I wouldn't think that he does. Because he knows my heart's for the Most High first. But ma'am, sis cousin, you and a lot of us are attracted to leaders. We're attracted to ministers. We like the men with that pastoring anointing on them. They got that gift of gab and that charm, and they just make you fall in love with them. And everybody want a pastor. Everybody wants a leader. Everybody want, you want a mighty man of God. But ma'am, sis cousin, when you're asking for that mighty man of God, do you not understand that the obligation that puts on your life as well? All right. Because once you become one with this man, now the obligation to reach souls is just as much yours as it is his, even though your contribution to that looks different from your husband's. The responsibility is still the same. All right. While my husband is out here making deals, working, ministering, I'm taking care of his home, making sure the house is clean, making sure his kids are taken care of, making sure he has food and nourishment when he comes in from dealing with the world, making sure that his home is peaceful and quiet when he comes in from dealing with the world. Even the children, they're fed. They're not, of course, they're going to be happy to see their dad, their kids. They're not angry, crying, fighting. It's not a bunch of turmoil going on in the house. That is my contribution to winning souls. And you will not take it seriously if you refuse to look at it like that. And guess what else is your contribution to winning souls? Presenting your husband in the best light possible. Because how can I expect anyone to follow my husband as he follows Christ if I'm out here acting a fool? What they gonna say? Oh, this the kind of wife that Christ has to offer. I'm good. I'll take my chance with the hoes. Y'all don't realize the way y'all act turns people off from ministry. Honestly, I've had the opportunity to speak with a few wives of leaders. Okay. And I'm gonna just tell y'all, like, if you're not ready for that obligation, if you are not as committed to the Most High and his people as that man is, don't marry him. Don't marry him. Even if he's just a preacher on the street right now. Because you don't know what the Lord is going to turn that man into. So even if he just going out preaching on the street right now, or even if he, just get on YouTube and ministers through social media, if you know that that's where that man's heart is and your heart is not there, please politely walk away from him. If he don't get, the sense to put you away first. I'm sorry. Okay, I wasn't supposed to say that. Let's read some comments. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Man, I have no friends and I have to get comfortable with just me and the Most High. Facts. And it is very sad. I don't have any friends like that either. And I get it. It's very sad. But man, I'm gonna tell you, like, friendship comes in different forms, right? Different levels and stuff like that. And everybody's just not supposed to be in your inner circle. And at my most natural purest point, I want to love everybody, right? I want everybody to be my friend. I want to give everybody hugs and we can all be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like I want that. Okay. But life has taught me that that's not the prevailing sentiment in the world. Okay. And another thing that you have to be careful of, when you are the light, when you're walking as the light, when you are walking in the position that God has called you to be in, you're walking in biblical obedience, you're walking in the blessings that God is providing you. People who are not walking in that are not going to really be able to stand you. They're not. The jealousy is gonna kick in because you have something about you that they don't have, and no matter how hard they try, they can never get it. I had a person who I thought was a friend of mine, um, but it got to the point that every time I did something, she would do it, even to the point of moving to Atlanta, okay? I got a dog, she got a dog, like, I got married, she got married. It was creepy. Um and so don't get discouraged about the absence of people around you. The world loves its own. And once you become comfortable with who the most high called you to be, look, some of us can be popular and some of us can't, even with the calling and anointing on our lives. So even this is not for everyone. Okay. Listen, if you went to a party with me and my husband, you would be like, how do these two do it? Because we walk into a party, I'm looking for the food. He's going to make friends. I just want to chill and eat some chips and chill. Like I and my husband knows this about me, right? Like he'll just sit me down and give me some wings or whatever and come and check on me every now and then while he goes and socializes. Um but even with that, even in that, those relationships sour, not all of them. Um But those relationships sour because of jealousy. So don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that don't feel no kind of way. Don't feel bad about that. Don't let that discourage you at all. Life experiences and discernments. Exactly. And then you have to remember, like, some people you are just called to influence one in one way or the other. And when your time to influence them is up, then there's no need for the relationship anymore. Um, People are in your life for reasons, seasons, and lifetimes, right? The reason you may have just been there to plant a seed, to water a seed, and then it's your time to go. But a lot of us mess up because we will hold on to these relationships even after they expire. And you know when a friendship has expired. You know when a relationship has expired. You know when it's time for you to move on, when the vibe is starting to change, when sis starting to act funny all of a sudden and you can't figure out why. Don't stay around. That is when things occur. I watch too much true crime, okay? So I don't play I don't play about that. Like, nope, nope. You ain't about to have me on ID channel. Go on about your business. And you just have to, like, you have to be at peace with yourself. And let me say this. Because I know we talk a lot about love and relationships and marriage on here. So let me just say that if you are not at peace with yourself, you you shouldn't be dating. You shouldn't be looking to get married, okay? Because even being married, there are times when I still feel lonely. With a house full of kids and a loving husband. Don't get me wrong. My husband loves me. I have no doubt about it. My husband dotes on me. He compliments me. Like I have no shortcomings in that area. But there are times when I, as a person, still feel lonely. Like I don't have a Friend. My best friend is in New Jersey. So yeah, we can pick up the phone and talk, but I can't call her and be like, hey, come over here and, kick it with me, or let's go here, let's do this. Right? And so in that loneliness is when women will seek attention from other men because I need attention. And here's a problem. With worldly dating. I'm gonna just say it like that. The problem with worldly dating is that attention is on demand under that system. All right. I'm gonna keep it funky with y'all. There was a time when I never had to demand anybody's attention, ask for attention, whatever. You ain't got time. Okay, bloop, next. In all honesty with you guys. Okay. In all honesty. So, no lie, to go from having that availability of attention to now, no, I have to wait for my husband to be able to give me the attention. Yes, it can be a bit of a culture shock and it can be a bit of a struggle. And so, but this is why I'm saying y'all need to pray and be sure you want to get married, because there are a lot of things that you just have not experienced yet, things that you don't know about. Hell, there are things that I have not experienced yet. Hello, pulling a Aisha Curry. Okay, but it's not just her. Sierra out showing her butt cheeks. I mean, they're all married women still seeking attention from men other than their husbands. So, you have to be cool with you. Like, you have to be comfortable with you. Even when you start to feel lonely, you have to have something that that you like to do to keep you occupied. I like to read books. I'll find a good doc on TV. I'll clean up something. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are things to do. And right, you can. I literally didn't love myself until I started loving the Most High. I don't feel like you can. If you don't love God, I don't feel like you can love yourself. I feel like once you start keeping the law and you see the love that God has for you, in his laying of the law, the thoughtfulness of the law, the things that he considered about you, then I feel like that shows you self-love. And honestly, keeping the law of the Most High is the highest form of self-love, because I love me. I don't want anything to happen to me. I would like to stay young and healthy and beautiful for as long as I possibly can. Okay? And how do we do that? Keeping the law, staying away from unclean things and worldly lifestyles and behavior. We've all seen them women that are 40 but look 80. And I'm talking about Black women. Okay? Black women looking bad out here because of a hard life. You get a hard life when you don't keep the law. How are you in a soft woman era and you out here living like a heathen? This is what I don't understand about the world. Like, how you call yourself soft and you, please. So please, love yourself. Get right with yourself. Get comfortable with yourself. Yeah, facts. Some Black has crack. Hard, okay? Hard. That comes from that worldly living. I'm telling, every time I see my sisters with the shellfish, it's just like, y'all are nasty. With the pork, like, how y'all eat that? That is disgusting. I'm gonna tell you something else too, ma'am, sis cousin. Listen, if you're not taking care of your body, why aren't you taking care of your body? And I'm not saying that it's easy, okay? I've started and stopped and started and stopped and started and stopped. But I'm not ever gonna deny the fact that yes, I need to be working out, and yes, I need to be eating better, and yes, I need to be doing this and doing that. And some of us don't even consider it. Like for some of us, it's not even a thought. We're sick, we're tired, we're run down, we don't have any energy. Our menstrual is all off, our hormones are all over the place, hair's falling out. You got acne, your skin is blotchy, your back hurt, your knee hurt, your stomach hurt, you can't poop. It's because of the crap that you eat. It's because you won't get up and move your body. The thing about exercising is it makes all of your muscles work together, even your digestive muscles. It triggers all of those muscles. So all of those things get to moving. If you've ever, you know how it is when you exercise and that gas come out unexpectedly, all of that stuff gets to moving. Instead of sitting in your intestines and coming out of your pores and scarring up your skin. And yes, I get it. All the food is dirty. You can't trust anything. But ma'am, sis, cousin, I'm going to readily pull up to a salad and know that I'm going to feel better after eating this than I am to a burger. Like we can't get so conspiracy minded that we kind of avoid common sense. You understand what I'm saying? Like, yes, they spray the vegetables with pesticides, but those vegetables are still going to be better for me than the steak. We can't deny that. I'm not saying don't have the steak, but you shouldn't be eating one every day. For my sisters who maybe have a little body odor issues, and y'all still young, it's not, menopause ain't around the corner for you. Look at what you're eating. Look at what you put in your body. If you eat a bunch of dead animals, what do you expect to smell like? And it's only so much that Bath and Body Works, you can buy all the perfume soap, you can buy all the Bath and Body Works, you can do all that, but that stuff is sitting in your gut, rotting in your body. The smell is coming out. It's coming out of your mouth, it's coming out of your pores. You ever been around somebody that drink all the time, and even when they not drinking, they smell like they just got finished drinking? The same thing when you just feast on dead meat. We've got to start doing better for ourselves. I started to title this "Have Black Women Gone Too Far?" Are Black women too far gone? And I may still talk about that. Because the lack of positive role models for us is just, and I know you might be like, well, you're 40. Do you need a role model? Hell yes. Hell yes. I'm still living life every day. I'm still trying to figure things out. Yes. I wish my grandma was here so I could go talk to her. Get a little wisdom and advice. We need more happily married grandmas so the mothers have someone to talk to and get some advice. I wish that I had more Bible-based women role models around me. I'm not talking about church folk. I have plenty of church folk that I can go to. But the church folks' marriages is not one that I want to emulate. And you know what I've always told y'all? If you don't want your life to look like that, don't take the advice from that. So if I don't see your marriage as one that I want to emulate, then I'm not going to ask you for marriage advice. I'm not. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, you don't really know what goes on behind closed doors, so you shouldn't judge. Yes, I should. Yes, I should. If I'm looking at you and I don't like the way that you talk to your husband, yes, I should. If I know that I would never talk to my husband like that, I'm not asking you nothing, lady. I might ask you where the bathroom is. That's about it. You can't tell me nothing. If I see that your man, if I see your man doing stuff that I know that my man would never do, I'm good. You don't need to tell me nothing, sis. If I see you doing things as a wife that I would never do, I'm not trying to copy that. So I don't want instructions for that. I need the instructions for what I'm trying to copy. If I'm trying to put together a table, I don't go and get the instructions for a chair. I want a table, not a chair. You understand what I'm saying? I want a marriage till death do us part, or till the chariots fly. Hopefully that comes first. So I'm not gonna go get the instructions on divorce, on unhappy marriage, on just staying for the kids. I don't want them instructions. That's not what I'm trying to do. And unfortunately, like, look at Keke Palmer. I don't know if y'all seen her latest interview with Raven Simone and her wife, but now, and I hate to say this, but she's following the same pattern. She's cloning, she's being a hoe clone. What do you mean she's being a hoe clone? What she got with this guy, they had a baby, right? She goes to this concert, shows her behind, and whether y'all say it was a stunt or whatever, this is still hoish behavior displayed by a Black woman for the world to see. Okay, that happened. They supposedly broke up or whatever. And now she's on interviews talking about, well, I've always liked girls. And what I don't understand, you'll go to a man to have a baby, but you won't stay with the man to raise the baby. You'll go to the man to have the baby, but then you decide that you and another woman can raise this child better than the man could. It's not gonna come out right. I know I'm not supposed to say that because eligibility community parents produce good kids and all that other stuff. Ma'am, sis, cousin, listen, if I'm making a cake, right? If I'm making a cake and that cake calls for eggs, and for whatever reason I choose to use bananas instead of eggs, it's not going to be the same cake. It's not going to taste the same. It's not going to give me the same pleasure and the same feeling. You have altered the recipe for the cake. So if I have a man and a woman raising a child, that's going to be different from two women raising a child. Just like a man and woman raising a child is going to be different from a woman raising a child alone. It's not, you're not going to get the same product. You're not going to get the same product. And I think the thing that we as Bible believers who I don't know, I'm sure some of y'all out there who purport to be allies with the eligibility community and support them using test tubes to make babies or whatever. The thing that you need to understand is they're not trying to produce another God-fearing, church-going person. That's not what they're trying to make. They're trying to replicate themselves. And what does the Bible say about that? That's why what does the Bible say in Deuteronomy? Love God with all of your heart, all of your mind, and all of your soul. And what is in your heart? The law is in your heart. You talk about the law. You're constantly teaching it to your children. You're constantly discussing it as you come and go because it's in your heart. These people are not trying to put the law of God into their children's hearts. That's not what they discuss with their children. That's not the way that they're going to teach their children. When I read my children, what was that story we read? I forgot the name of it, but it was a really good book. But we were reading a story And the way the story was written, one of the characters was the bad guy, or they tried to make it seem like this character was the antagonist or the bad guy. But when we examine this story under the law of the Bible, it turns out that the bad guy was not the bad guy after all. The person who lied is the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? We do this with everything. Cartoons we watch, books we read. I'm always asking, okay, should we be doing this? Is this lawful? Is this unlawful? How does the Most High feel about this? What should this person have done in that situation? Okay. Faith in Israel, shalom and shalom. Thank you for joining me. When a person who is living the opposite of the law teaches these things to their children, they're not pointing out the shortcomings. They're not pointing out the sin. They're not doing that. They're teaching the story under the guise of equality and whatever else they're into. So as much as you may feel like, oh, it's human rights and all people should be able to, you have to understand that you're supporting the creation of the very opposite of what God intended. So how can you do that and still call yourself a Bible believer, a Christian, or any of that? I've never been the kind of person to be friends with the enemy of my friend. Okay? If you my friend, you're my friend, and your friends are my friends. And if you're my friend and you got an enemy, your enemies are my enemies. You can't not mess with my husband and think you're gonna rock with me. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Like, if you are not a close confidant of my husband's, I don't talk to you. Men. I don't have. I might say hi because I have to, but I don't have nothing to say. You can't not like me and think that you're gonna rock with my husband. He don't get down like that. No. We a team, and if you don't like one of us, you don't like none of us. I'm the same way about my friends. I'm the same way about the Most High. If my daddy don't rock with you, I can't rock with you. Now, I'm not saying that mean to be mean and nasty. No, we're supposed to live peaceably with all men for as long as possible, right? So I respect your right to personhood. I respect your right to your autonomy. Listen, if I can see that you a boy, but you want me to say that you're a girl, I'm not about to do that shit. I'm sorry. I'm not about to do that. I'll call you by your name. What's your name? Charlie. Okay, I'll call you Charlie, but I'm not about to be like, yo, girl. I'm not doing that. No, because I cannot support what goes exactly against what is set for the destruction of my people. I'm not supporting it in any way. Don't ask me because I'm not. And listen, I'm not saying that it's easy for some of you who work in corporate and stuff like that. Like, I get that you have different challenges. Okay? But as much as you possibly can, resist like resist that. Don't you become a part. Don't lend your energy, your voice, your support, don't lend it to that. I don't know how else to put that. But again, this all falls under being more afraid of what people think about you than you think of the souls that need to reach Christ. right? Because even in the midst of these discussions with the LGBT community, everyone may not agree with what you have to say. And they're going to say things, they're going to call you names, they're going to call you ignorant and all this other stuff. And that's fine. But what you never know, if you plant a seed or if you water a seed, you may be saying something and this may be the third or fourth time somebody hears it, but it just happens to click this time. It's not up to you to try to determine what your seed produces. It is only up to you to plant the seed. Okay? And I'm saying that to say, like, it's not up to you to say nobody's listening to me. Oh Lord, I'm preaching to myself. It's not up to you to say there's not enough people listening. Nobody's hearing what I'm saying. That's not up to you to say that. It is up to you to only give the seed that the Most High gave you to plant. I can't sit here and say, I don't want to do Why Boaz, I don't want your ass no more. I ain't getting enough viewers. I'm not monetized on YouTube. I ain't getting enough subscribers. I don't want to do it no more. That's not up to me to say that. That is only up to me to sit in this seat and minister as the Most High leads me. That is all that's up to me. He'll do the rest, okay? Because I don't know if someone on this live is being affected, or I don't know if someone's going to come tomorrow, 6 months from now, 3 weeks from now, a year from now, and this be a message that totally changes their life. I never know that. There are things that I have read books that were written in the 60s and 70s and 80s that have changed my life. I have went back to gospel songs that have changed my life. But I was not present. Like, the person couldn't look at me when they wrote that book and was like, oh yeah, this is going to help her. Let me write this. No, they just had to plant the seed. Plant the seed. That is our job. We're not doing that. Yeah. So the ma'am sir thing, like, I hate that. I really hate that, because it's like, you know what it's like? It's like when Americans go to other countries. Sorry. It's like when Americans go to other countries and they try to force English on everyone. I'm from Germany, okay? And this is something that happens all the time. Americans come to Germany and want everybody to start speaking English all of a sudden. It's the same thing with that. Like, just because you decided that you was gonna do something different, now you want to force me
can't control us.
to go along with it? Are you trying to force me to speak this language? And it's even beyond that, because it's like you're trying to force me to believe a lie. You want to force me to go along with a lie. You understand what I'm saying? So it's so much more than that. But thank y'all for joining me this evening. I had a wonderful time with you guys. I hope that something I said will help you today, tomorrow, whether you're here live or on the recording. Listen, if you like what we got going on here at the House of Mono, something I said helped you. Even if it helps you tomorrow, I know a lot of y'all get paid tomorrow. It's cool. The Cash App will be working tomorrow. $, the House of Mono, $1 or $2 will do. I appreciate y'all so very much. Thank you, Faith in Israel, Yamaya, Angelina's son. I appreciate y'all so much. I am so excited about F3, you guys. I hope to see you. Please come up to me, give me hugs, introduce yourself. I'm so happy to be able to meet all of y'all in person. If you be at the party Saturday, I will see you at Saturday. If not, I will see you Sunday, 1 o'clock, Bean Acres. No, 2 o'clock. I'm sorry. 2 o'clock, Bean Acres in Atlanta. Again, 3mgmusic.com. The number 3mgmusic.com is the website. Listen, you have 48, 49. You have about 50 hours left because ticket sales on the website stop Saturday at midnight. So you have about 50 hours left to go and get your tickets. Tickets are double at the door. So go to the website, get your tickets, get your bands for the kids too. Don't forget about the children. Gotta get the children. Okay, I love y'all so much. Wait till I tell you. Yes, you have to tell me. You have to tell me. I want to know how your son started watching the podcast. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for being here with me this evening. Again, I'm so excited to meet you guys on Saturday and Sunday. This is just going to be a phenomenal time in the Lord. On behalf of the entire House of Mono, the 3MG staff, everyone at F3, the Light Hebrew Magazine, we thank you, we love you, we appreciate you guys. Shalom and good night.
3 times for my 4 came up.